somebody who can take great care of people that he mentions. We also heard people talking about the fact that he is a collector and a historian for Catalysis. The interesting part about Burt is he's been collecting history, aspects of history. Exactly what he's doing today is behind the camera. So I've been trying to look for pictures of him. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any. I only find those of him taking pictures of me. So he's looking at a picture of me 30, 40 years ago. And there's another one he took of me something like 5, 7 years ago. And I was trying to look for those. It's my life history sort of flashing under my eyes. That's how long you've been doing it. Thank you very much for the great work you've been doing. Now, this talk that I'm trying to talk about is some of the things we've been doing in our lab recently, and it's related to the issue that we've been building catalytic structures, or structures that have relevance to catalysis. And today I will talk about two particular examples. One is the issues of the role of the interface, the metal oxide support interface, in the selective oxidation of propane to acetone. The other is something to do with the coordination symmetry of metal for the purpose of glucose conversions. The work is mainly done by Nima for Part A and by Dr. Chen for Part B, and of course my collaborator Leif has been with us for many years. So let's go to the first one, the selective oxidation of propane. Now, the supported metal catalyst has been around for a long time, and here's a schematic of it with metal cluster on support. And even today, for example, today we've heard people heard talks in which investigators try to understand, try to control how these metal clusters would affect catalysis, the shape of it, the size of it, for example. One aspect of a supported metal cluster is that there's always this interface, metal support interface. And there's very little work done on it, or there's an inference that this metal support interface can play an important role in catalysis. Now, one of the reasons why there's very little information about that is simply because nobody has been able to control the production synthesis of it and characterize only the particular part and nothing else. So we've been trying to think of ways to see, can we get more information about this metal support interface? And the way that we approach that is actually to use a model system in which we start off with a metal cluster, and then we put metal oxide species as a mimic of this support metal interface. Now the advantage of so doing is that we are able to control the production of the synthesis of this interface at will, and I'll show you that later. The other part of my talk, as I said, is another model system in which we try to study the metal incorporated in a zeolite. This is just a generic zeolite, but many of the interesting zeolite systems, especially for non-hydrocarbon conversion reactions, will involve a metal that's incorporated inside the zeolite. Now, this metal would then be in a tetrahedral coordination. So, can we find generally a mimic of the system that will also have a metal center that's tetrahedrally coordinated? I'm going to show you an attempt at doing so. So let's go to the first one first, which is attempt to investigate something that's close to that can represent this metal oxide support interface. Now, the particular reaction of what drove us to study this is the fact that it's been reported that gold, supported gold catalyst can be made into a one that can produce acetone with high selectivity, although the conversion very low. And this particular material is gold supported on TS1. Now, for comparison, if you put gold and support on titanium dioxide, for saying about the same conversion of propane, you don't get acetone at all. You get mostly propene. The selective production of propene is what you get for gold support on TiO2. There are various proposals or interpretations of why gold on TS1 is a good catalyst for the acetone production and gold TiO2 is not. Now, what we've been thinking of is that perhaps this gold support interface, where the support is TS1, and in particular, if the gold is is that if the gold is in the immediate neighborhood of the titanium in TS1, perhaps that could be an active site. It may not be the exclusive active site, it could be an active site. So let's explore that and see whether it could play an important role in this particular reaction. Now to show that indeed this close contact of gold with titanium, perhaps as isolated titanium in TS1 is important, we make this composite catalyst. We put gold in supported silica and physically mix it with TS1. We find that mixture has very little activity, and most importantly, the production of acetone is very low. Now I put down here approximately 0 is mainly because the amount is so small that it would not be really accurate. The point is that the production rate of acetone is very low. So this gives us an incentive to say that positively the gold supported gold and the titanium in direct contact with each other could be important or interesting. Now how do we do that? How do we make something like that in a controlled manner? What we would like to do, for example, is to be able to create an interface in which we can change the density or number of the interface at will. Hopefully we can even control the location of it. By location of it, meaning that we can put the titanium right next to the gold or a little distance from the gold and see the difference of that potential difference of that activity, which is right here. Now, ideally, what we would like to be able to do is to put the gold either on a flat surface, the titanium on the flat surface of the gold, or on the corner or something like that. That's something that we have not been able to do yet, but that is something ideally we would like to do. We would like to be able to change the type of this interface, meaning that in addition to titanium, can we put something else? We put zirconium onto it, niobium onto it. Can we see the differences about all these different species? How about the size of this cluster? I talk about the possibility of an isolated titanium to mimic the TS1. What about a diamond of titanium, a trimer of titanium? Can we put to something that we can change that? Now those are including potential future work. I'm not going to be able to tell you that we've done all of it, but all that I'm trying to tell you is the initial work that we've done. So initially what we've been doing, able to do is put what we think is a single titanium, and we think that we're able to put it next to gold. Leave it up to you to make the judgment whether we succeed in doing so. What we can definitely be able to show you is that we can change the density of it. Have not been able to quantify the density, but qualitatively we can change the density. Then we think we can qualitatively change the separation distance of this titanium from gold versus titanium of something other than gold. So let me show you how we make it. The way we make it is to borrow a technique that we have done successfully made use of in the past, in which we change the ligand, essentially the ligand surrounding a precursor to a metal. In this case, is a palladium. This particular ligand will allow us to prepare a titanium metal cluster in which the ligand hugs it or surrounds it. The way we do that is that we start out with this siloxane molecule with a silicon hydrogen bond. The silicon hydrogen bond is quite reactive. You can oxidize it or hydrolyze it, to siloxane. The silicon O is like the hydroxyl groups of the silica. People know how to modify them quite easily. One of the modification would be to convert it into in this case, a CN group, nitrogen group, but we can also convert it to a nitrogen amine group, which I'll show you later. We can also use this OH, silanol, to put a metal precursor to it, such as titanium precursor or the precursor in this case, but the one of interest to us is the titanium precursor. So this is what we do. We take this silane molecule, we oxidize the silane to silanol, we react the silanol with a siloxane molecule to generate this amine ligand, or we can react it with a titanium acetonate by isopropoxide to generate this particular titanium ligand. What's so good about this reaction? Well, first of all, we can follow this reaction quantitatively with NMR. This reaction with amine is quantitative, This reaction of oxidizing the silane to silanol is also quantitative. So knowing the size of this molecule, we know exactly how many silanols we have. Then the quantitative reaction would let us know exactly how many amines we put onto it per molecule. Likewise, we can also know quantitative how many titanium per molecule. Now, after we make this molecule, we can expose it, or we mix it together with a gold nanoparticle. We know that amine with enough gold will bind to it, so that we think that the ligand would hug this gold in this manner. In so doing, the titanium will be brought close to the gold. So we have schematically in material that look like this. The little green wiggle represents this ligand with the silicon and the amine onto it. The little red dot will be the titanium ligand. After we form this cluster, we can deposit on any supports silicon in this particular case. Now, of course, as such, we don't expect this gold material to be too active because it's surrounded by this amine ligand. If we want to remove all these organic fragments, then we do so with oxygen at 400 degrees, which unfortunately turned out to be too high a temperature. It will cause gold particles agglomerate stability. What we find is at a lower temperature and treating ozone, we're able to preserve the size of the gold as well as removing most of the organic. I'll show you two of the characterizations that we have done. One is to show you that we have indeed made this material, and the other is that we can remove the organic fragments to form the material. It's like the gold cluster with silica. After we burn off all the organics, this will become a silica patch or silica portion of it, domain of it, and on that we'll have the titanium material. So this is the ligand, and we can use the NMR. In this case, it's the proton NMR. We can also look at silicon NMR and carbon NMR and all of those to help us identify what we have. In this particular case, this is a proton NMR. You see that the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all these different protons at different positions, integrated the peaks and so on, to know exactly the material that we have. How about the removal of the organic ligands from this gold ligand complex? Well, we can follow the CH stretch by infrared spectroscopy. As you can see, we increase the temperature of oxidation to remove the ligands, but by the ozone at 150 degrees remove the ligand quite effectively. So we think that we have what we have, just to show that the treatment at the end of it does not change the gold particle size too much. As you can see here, this is the case of a gold on silica as prepared with the material without any titanium. This is one with some titanium. This is gold to titanium ratio. This is one with more titanium. You see that we maintain the gold particle size quite well, but there's not a significant change even after all these treatments and different amount of ligands, different types of ligands that we put on to it. Let's look at the reactivity of it. This is the gold on silica. As I said, this is gold on silica with the ligand already onto it, and as well as treatment by the ozone. The difference between this material and the next two is that in the next two we have titanium on the ligand. In the first one we don't have titanium on the ligand. As expected, this gold and silica is quite inactive for this reaction. The propane conversion is quite low. But in this case we see some acetone, but as I said, the amount is so small I'm not going to put a lot of weight onto the number here. When we put some titanium onto this sector, this is now the certain amount of titanium, the catalyst becomes much more active, and very importantly, the major product is acetone. And if you put more of the titanium on, the material becomes somewhat more active, and just as importantly, the major product is continuing to be acetone. The fact that we are able to increase the activity, and the fact that acetone is now clearly the major product, is way beyond terror, suggests to us that this interface that we generated, the titanium, we think is isolated, is surrounded by silica. The next to the gold is an important active site for the acetone production for this particular reaction of propane oxidation. Now, knowing that, saying that the titanium is important, what about if you say we have titanium not that close to the gold? Our picture that I show you is that because the ligand that we started off with hugs the gold because of the presence of the amine, further subsequent treatment would leave the titanium still right next to the gold. What if we do this essentially the same thing, but have the titanium somewhat farther away from the gold? Can we see that whether there's a change in the production of acetone? So the way that we do this is follows. We started off with the same material, the gold, except that now this silica has no titanium on it. In essence, this is sort of a picture of it. Now, on top of that material, we put a layer of this titanium-containing silica. This is now schematically trying to illustrate that the titanium now, on the average, is farther away from gold than in this particular case. So this is the two samples that we have. This is the one that I showed you earlier. There's titanium mixed with gold. We have certain rate, and we produce acetone. When we put the titanium farther away from the gold on the average, because one layer of the silica is already surrounding the gold, the catalyst is less active. Although the total content of titanium is the same, but the catalyst is less active, but we still have acetone as major product, whatever is formed. We think that this possibly could be due to the fact that we don't have a complete coverage of silica on the gold, so some of the titanium was able to penetrate and get closer to the gold for this residual activity. So all this together suggests to us that the titanium gold interface that we generated perhaps is indeed playing an important role in this selective oxidation reaction of acetone production. Now let's go to the next slide, the next part of my talk, which is try to generate a mimic of this metal center inside a zeolite. As I said, this metal center is tetrahedrally coordinated, and because of that, it has a different type of catalytic activity than the metal in oxide in general. The particular reaction that we're interested in is material that we're interested in is a tin beta. Tin inside the beta material turns out to be a good catalyst for glucose conversion. This is shown here. This is a tin oxide. It is when you expose it to the glucose, you don't get much of the isomerization reactions, especially the fructose and the mannose. On the other hand, if you use a tin beta, this is not this as well, and they show that you get a substantial conversion of the glucose into fructose and mannose. And as I said, the tin inside the beta is in the tetrahedral coordination, whereas the tin in the tin oxide SiO2 is in the octahedral coordination. So maybe a tin is in the tetrahedral coordination. Would be a very good catalyst for glucose conversion. Now, why do we want to convert glucose to fructose? It's because of the fact that this isomerized product can be dehydrated to form the HMF, the hydroxy methylfurfural, which is a good platform molecule for further conversion to other bio-based materials. The problem, however, is that we would like to prevent the formation of so-called a human. The human is the polymer is black, the material, it poisons the catalyst, it also wastes glucose, a very valuable biochemical. So we would like to avoid the formation of the human. And one of the advantages of tin beta is that there is rather little amount of human is formed. It can carry out this isomerization very easily, and the fructose is the one that can be converted converted to HMF more easily than glucose, so this isomerization is a desirable reaction. As I said, the tin beta can avoid the formation of hemicals. So we would like to be able to generate a tin material in which the tin is tetrahedrally coordinated as is shown here. The idea is that why don't we just go ahead and use the tin beta instead? Well, the idea, of course, is in addition to the fact that this is a fundamental research, is that if we can generate a tin, tetrahedral tin, and be able to put it on any support such as silicon, we will be able to have a tetrahedral material, tin material, that is not controlled or not influenced potentially by diffusion. Inside the tin beta, tin in the tin beta is a tin inside small channels. So that quite often the reaction could be diffusion control. That's the first thing. The second thing, of course, is that you cannot carry out larger molecule conversions if you have a tin beta in a zeolite that is confined by small channels. If you can generate a tin that's an isolated form as such, it's also still in the tetrahedral coordination, we may be able to control the environment of this tin much more easily. Right, so that's our driving force behind it. So this is how we plan to do it. We started off with this imperfect pause, as you say, the spherical silicate. This is essentially like the steel-sesquioxane, except that one of the corner is taken away, one of the corner of the silicon is taken away. In the case of it, three of these silanol groups. We can react this material with one equivalent, there's one hydroxyl with one of this silicon chloride, silyl chloride, and that condensation of the chloride with the OH will attach this the vinyl group onto the pause, or the spherical silicate. The reason for that is that we would like this double bond to be used to anchor the material onto the silicate, so that we won't have further dimerization or oligomerization of this material. So after we get this single molecule, we still have two silanol left, and we can use them to react with tetraisopropoxy tin, and hopefully, if everything works out right, we will be able to generate the tetrahedral coordinated tin by reaction of two of this for one equivalent of the tin. Then, as I said, there is double bond left behind, which we use to react with the silane. There's a functionalized silica surface by hydrosilylation, and we generate this material onto the surface. Now, how do we? First of all, we have to show that indeed we can carry out this reaction, and that can be done because this silicon, silane molecule, once you remove this chloride and replace it by an oxygen, the bonds here, the chemical position of silicon will shift quite substantially. So you can follow this reaction by NMR. This is in in solution very easily. And you can also follow this reaction quite easily because you can look for the disappearance of this silanol, as well as the disappearance of this isopropoxy group on the tin. Now, of course, the reaction of this would generate isopropanol, but isopropanol can be removed from the mixture very easily. So by looking at the disappearance of this isopropoxy, you can see that you have generated some reaction of the tin with the spherical silicate. Likewise, we can follow this reaction by looking at the NMR, looking at the disappearance of the double bond, as well as the disappearance of the silane, and you can see that we have generated this material. But it turns out that we try very hard to try to get a crystal structure of this, and without success, if we have a crystal structure, we can do even better. Right. So So after we make this, we were saying that how easily available is this tin to the reaction? After all, we have our groups and Although we can change the size of the R group, that's one of the options that we have, or flexibilities that we have. The particular R group that we have is the isobutyl, and this is a molecular space filling model of it. The green thing is the team, and there is a space. This space that's available that's big enough for glucose to go in and to react. So we think this would be a catalyst. As I said, we can follow some of the steps by NMR, all the steps by NMR, and this is a proof that we think we have this functionalized spheral silicate. And this is, for example, the most common one is the characterization is silicon NMR. If you look at this structure, you see that there's 7 different kinds of silicon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 different kinds of silicon. And this is a silicon NMR. There's 6 of them. 1 here, there are 5 of them here, right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 different kinds of silicon. So to show you that you have the clean molecule that you have made. And likewise, you can look at other things like proton or carbon-13 NMR. You put it onto there, as I said. Ideally, what you want to get is a tetrahedral team, right? When you form a diamond, this one team reacting with 2 of those. You can also think of the possibility that the team would react with some of this silicon, this cyano, and then some others. The next one will come and react with it, but the team did not react with both cyano on each of this silicate. But the third one comes along and react with it, so you can get dimerization or trimerization or even polymers of those. Well, so we follow again using TNMR to follow the appearance of tetrahedral team versus octahedral team. It turns out that the tetrahedral team will give you a resonance in this region, whereas the octahedral team will give you resonance in that region. So what we found is that if we keep the equivalence of team here to the pause less than 1 to 2, remember the molecule that we want is 1 to 2. If you keep it less than 1 to 2, the team is kept in the tetrahedral coordination. Even when we get to 1 to 2, we don't get this clean material because some octahedral team appearing. As you get more and more team, you get more and more of octahedral coordination. So our material is that we keep it at lower than its stoichiometric amount, and then we do the good part about this is that even if we keep it at a stoichiometric amount, so that we don't have everything in this form that we want, the remaining excess pause that's from here, even after we put it onto the silica, will not contain any team, it will not be reactive. This is inert impurity, but it's inert. So now that we, as I said, then we continue and put it onto the silica. How good are they as a reaction for this glucose reaction? This is a team data as a reference. This is our data. It is reactive. It can generate fructose and mannose. These are the isomers. The team that we make onto the support also produce mannose and fructose. We also interestingly produce the desired product of HMF. Now we also produce some human. The amount of human is a lot less than, as I said, with tin oxide. Now to show that this crowding protects the tin from forming human, what we can do is that we can burn off those hydrocarbons. By burning them off, this becomes cyanide, so that the steric crowding becomes a lot less. We expect that it's much easier for polymers to form, which is the human. So we burn it off and find out that now the reaction indeed produces more human than the material that we have, and it's still active for isomerization, but the problem is that, as I said, it allows the reaction of fructose with HMF to form more human. Okay, so that's about all that I want to show you today, and that is hopefully I've shown you that there are quite a bit of things we can play around with in terms of changing the active sites we produce that we can find in conventional catalysts. Such as in this case, we generate a ghost, a model compound that would mimic this ghost support interface. And likewise, we generate a tin complex or tin material that would mimic the tin inside the zeolite. And hopefully, with your imagination, you can think of many other things you can do because this type of approach is quite versatile. Well, thank you again. Thank you, Burt, for the opportunity for me to congratulate you as well as the chance to talk about what we've been doing. Congratulations.